goodness. Okay. Hello, everybody. It is I, Mr. Break. Um, how y'all been doing today? Don't hey Beta Wolf, what's up? Thank you for coming and hanging out with me, Beta Wolf. I'm coming from a meeting. I had one of those meetings where, I have one question. I just have a quick question, and then it was, pretty much freaking damned. What? Uh, what? Oh, yeah, we're still on hiring. Sorry, y'all. There we go. All right. Well, Lady P, oh God, I tell you what, it just how when people go on vacation, they go, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go see family," and I'm like, "That's not vacation, right?" Um, yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I traveled to my home state of Missouri for a funeral with my family, celebrating the life of my grandmother and my uncle. I think I told you folks some about that. Yeah, it wasn't a fucking vacation. I actually took bereavement leave for that stuff. So, you count people who go on vacation to attend some form of training. I've always wondered about that for myself. Well, Beta Wolf, some companies make you take your PTO to go on those trainings. I've had that happen before, and a lot of people see that as the reason why they don't take the training because I have to take vacation time to go take the training. Um, I find that people don't play the long game thinking about that kind of stuff, and it's like, I'd rather take a week off and go to Disney World with my family or whatever. And I'd be wasting a week of vacation time if I, was in a training or something. Um, I've heard people actually turn down training because they didn't want to have to take that time off, and I get it. You want to spend a week with your family, instead of a week doing some training, and perfectly cromulent reason. But if the company's willing to pay for that, you got to think the long game, right? If they're not going to give you that time off to go do that, you're going to take that training and do a lot more with it in the long run. So um, I don't consider going home and seeing family vacation. It's very trying for me, you know, and uh, the travel this weekend was not overly stressful, not like the last freaking one we did going down to Arkansas for my wife's graduation, which was plagued with nothing but delays and cancellations. So this one was actually quite easy. The weather was okay. It was a double funeral. My grandmother had passed away some time ago, but because of COVID and what have you, they did not want to do a memorial service so soon after her passing. Um, yeah. Well, my uncle, he passed away in December. Nah, maybe sometime around that time. And so they wanted to wait until it was a good time to get everybody around and able. And yeah, it was, I want to say November, December. So we waited a few months. Grandma and Uncle Kenny got cremated. So, they were sitting in the urns. Urns are heavy, by the way. Um, my uncle was a very staunch, hugely like crazed fan of the St. Louis Cardinals. So yeah, we put him in an urn that had Cardinals on the front of it, ironically enough. So that was nice. We found that on Amazon apparently, and yeah, we celebrated Grandma and Uncle Kenny's life, and it was okay. It was good to see the family. It's the first time that pretty much everybody had been in one space in about the last 10 years, and we figured there ain't going to be too many other times when that's going to happen. And so Um, it was family. So, it's always stressful. You get people asking why we're not moving back to Missouri. What's it like living on the West Coast? Mm, one second. But anyway, I use the weekends normally to decompress from work. And I didn't get that this week. So it's only Tuesday and it feels like it's like been 3 Mondays in a row right now. So um, it is what it is, right? The longer it takes to have everyone in the same space, the more stressful. Yeah, absolutely, Beta Wolf. Even when I was younger, I never considered going and seeing family is an obligation, not vacation. So that's just how it's been for me. Considering, you have to go see family. You don't have to go to Europe. Um, my preference would have been Europe, but it is what it is. Doink. Yeah, there we go. Got some audio music in the background here, listening to some chill hop. Used with permission, by the way. So, for those of you who are unaware. So one of the things that I had said on the stream was FOSS isn't free. Got some news. Maybe we can do some discussion. Um, I saw this article that is available. I think I put it up this morning. No, not the homomorphic encryption. Or was it? Yeah, this guy. Or was it? Where did I put that? Oh, I rebooted my box today. It's Patch Tuesday, everybody. So, keep track of your patches and patch all your things. Make sure that it's available. I hope everyone had a chance to listen to the interview with Nick Means. We just posted up the John Aaron and Brennan or Jared Brennan interview to the podcast before I left on holiday. Hope everyone had a chance to re-listen to those. Here it is. Okay, so interesting screed, I would say. Apparently, there's this open source application called Core.js. Never heard of it. That's how popular it is. And um, person started writing. His handle is Zloy Rock, or what have you. He's an open source developer. Great. It's all well and good. And we've talked about this. This is stuff we've talked about with podcaster on the podcast. We've talked about um, longer to yeah. Well, that's coming from the Navy as well. When you leave to go home, it's more mandatory than yeah. Beta Wolf and I lived on Diego Garcia for a year and 4 months. I had not gone home from Monterey, where I was stationed, almost a year before that. So it was almost 2 years before I had gone back home. And I don't want to say it damaged my relationship with my family, but at the time I was or sprung, in this case, as the vernacular the kids use these days, on somebody at the time that was that was stationed in Monterey. Um, and I wanted to spend as much time with her as I could before leaving for Monterey from to Diego Garcia. So it pretty much was like I called mom, and I think I was 20 at the time, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to stay out here in Monterey for another couple weeks with my ex." And before I go out there, mom said, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, we'll see you when you get back." And I proceeded to not call them because it was super expensive on Diego Garcia. It was like $1 a minute at the time. So it was almost a year, 2 years before I had called home. And it was when I was on Guam telling them I was coming home. And I remember the phone being answered. Thankfully, they hadn't, lost their home phone number. And I get somebody picks up the phone, goes, "Hello." And I was like, "Who the hell is this?" "This is Mason." "Who's this?" "Oh, that's my brother." Last time I'd seen my brother, his voice hadn't changed yet, so it was kind of a shock from that respect. But I don't call my family that often. I don't call my mother as often as I probably should. I mean, we can go months without talking, and then all of a sudden it's like, realize I still have a mother, and I probably should call her. So I'm gonna try to make an effort to be better at least calling my mother and saying hello from time to time. So um, I actually stood up in front of everybody at the memorial service and talked about things, which is something I would never do normally. Um, Kind of one of those things where it was like I felt weird about doing it, so I probably should do it. And so I ended up getting up there and reminiscing about some things that I remember from my Uncle Kenny when I was much younger, and some of the things that I learned from my grandmother and what have you. So, so anyway, back to our story at hand here. Uh, Core.js apparently is another one of those linchpin kind of systems that is used far and wide. As a matter of fact, he's got screenshots of all the important places that it is used: Netflix, this site, eBay, Apple.com. And these are the sites that he could just find. He also used, I believe, Wappalizer to figure out if Core.js was being used elsewhere, and found that by manually checking, he found far more places because either they obfuscated who was using it or what have you. So he said at this moment, this script running on the 1,000 websites detects 52% of tested websites. And he used Wappalizer, which I thought was kind of cool. It's a tool that we learn about for doing OSINT type things. So he says it is, or he says it's the most popular and universal polyfill of the JavaScript standard library. I don't know what polyfill is, but it sounds terribly important. So it's one of the things holding the internet together. And as we've seen in the last few years, there's some developers that are unhappy with how open source functions, to the point where they decide they want to do things like nuke their code repos. They, add code maliciously, whether you believe it's malicious or not, protesting various things, whether you agree with them or not, to raise awareness of the open source problem or to make a political statement or what have you. This person was coming in to talk about, it was supposed to be a post about the active development of a new version of Core.js, but he basically says he's just fucking tired. And he said the free and open source software model, I think he meant the free and open source software model, is fundamentally broken. If you use a modern browser, you shouldn't need polyfill. 100%, Lady P. I have no idea what the fuck a polyfill is, but it sounds terribly important. And so, yeah, I'm going to take your word for it that, if you're using a modern browser, you don't need polyfill. He did make mention that IE11 is going the way of the dodo, and you probably shouldn't need a custom polyfill or something. He said that there's 9 billion NPM downloads or 250 NPM downloads a month. Polyfill supports HTML5 in old browser. Okay. So that would make sense why he was saying that, IE11 is going away. It's being deprecated, I think, as of this month, February 2023. So, yeah, I mean, you should be using Edge, or you should be using a more standard file name. But yeah, so he's mentioned all of these ones that have, Baidu, Amazon, Yahoo, Bilibili, maybe, Bilibili.com. So yeah, a number of websites, known websites, use Core.js in some way, shape, or form. And so he's, talking about all of this is going on, and he starts to, manual checks. 75 to 80 of the top 100 websites have it. Wappalizer allows detection of used technology, so that was something he used to figure this out. He brings the old XKCD bit, which everybody does bring out whenever some linchpin system, breaks the entire internet. He talks about quitting his job to work on Core.js full time. He buries the fact that he lives in Russia, which may or may not have some issues, or may not present itself as an issue coming up in the timeline where he starts talking about some things. So yeah, he started working on ensuring compatibility for the web. So basically starts talking about how, he started fundraising because he didn't have enough money to be able to do something. People were mean to him. people were calling his, methods of fundraising extortionware. Um, and he highlights things like people love to use free and open source software, but they're not interested in that many thousands of hours of development and real people with their own problems and needs are behind it. Consider any mention of this as an invasion of their personal space or a personal affront for them. They're just gears that should automatically change without any noise and their participation. Um, so he has oh, sorry, there's a C word right there. So there's a problem. Obviously, the whole open source is not free. It never has been. Um, I mean, we've talked about some of this in the past where they're talking about being able to fund things. I believe it was Bite Bleeder, I think, come on talking about how that was happening. GitHub now has sponsorships for various things where you can make money on these things. Um, I think I've made comment to some of the people we were interviewing about you don't know how to run a business because that's what this is going to be once it gets popular enough. It needs to have governance. It needs to have the ability for somebody to help sustain it. You can't be the only developer and being the marketing person and understand how to make money on these things. I've never used anything more than expensive than free software. I think that proves one of my, I don't want to say it proves a point, but I would say that is exactly, I think, the problem. It's not free. It never has been. And Lady P, I know you know that. Um, so, talking about how he was making money, uh, he's, I don't want to say made the mistake of just deciding to have a family, thinking that open source was going to save him and help him. But he ha- yeah, so he started getting money, and then of course, 2021 Russia decided to invade Ukraine. He happens to live in Russia. um, he can't leave Russia because of some lawsuit stuff that he had because he ran over a couple of drunk people who were playing in the road, which wasn't his fault, but he ended up having to make recompense for that. um, you can read the whole screed, but it pretty much means, he's unable to get to his money because he lives in Russia. Uh, People who are making donations in good faith are unable to, he's not able to get his money because of that, of sanctions and things that are happening. Um, and I think, I don't want to say this is an extreme issue, but there are developers in open source that you can't have it both ways. Um, you can't give away something for free, and then when it gets popular and you can no longer maintain it yourself, uh, decide, oh, I want to, get money for it. So there's, he tried to do some threat modeling and figure out what the the biggest issues are. Um, some of the things that people will say about that. He talks about a roadmap and some items that are coming up. Uh, he also said, if I don't get any help, this is what I'm going to do. So he's talking about dropping, engine support for obsolete engines, which is entirely fine. Uh, you still can though. Every version up until this one is free. Every version forward is going commercial. That's yeah. I mean, that is exactly the way that it could probably go, Lady P. You're absolutely correct. Um, and he said, basically, oh, I'll just fork it and create my own version. And he's like, where did he say that? Yeah. I see comments regularly. Someone even tries to scare me with a fork. I've already said too many times that if someone will fork it and maintain it, he'd be happy. Makes no sense just to fork it without maintenance. Now I don't see any. Now I don't see even anyone who tries to add core.js something significant or at least contributes regularly. Um, Unless it's GPLv3, in which case the viral license applies. Yeah, we started looking at making sure that our dependencies in our organization does not have V3 GPL in it. Um, so in a license, I would argue that free and open source software is not. So let me go look at the license. Let me go look at the license here. All right, so this is the part I have a problem with. This little piece of shit blurb. Software is provided as is. That means when you what, this is hitting real close to home because we have a house and we're selling our house here, Casa de Break here in the Seattle area. We're going down to Casa de Break, the sequel in San Diego. When we bought the house in San Diego, we bought it as is with the idea that it wasn't, complete shambles. It wasn't a meth house beforehand. We knew the agent, our buying agent was also the selling agent. So he was aware of the people who lived there. He knew that it wasn't garbage place. We've been taking care of it the last 3 years, using him also as our buyer's agent, the seller's agent, and he was also our property manager, and he's a really awesome person. But we bought it as is, which means we didn't expect the owners of that house to do anything to the house to fix it. If the owners of that house sold it to us as is, which means that's it. What you see is what you get. Beta Wolf, I think it happens a lot. As a matter of fact, the house that we're selling here, we've already talked to the real estate agent, and they're like, yeah, we want that 6%. We don't want that 2.5 and 3.5. So they have people who are looking for houses. We have a house. The problem kind of fixes itself, right? And everybody wins pretty much, the insurance or the realtor agent, because they get 6%, right? And everyone's happy, and we get vetted, so it's not like we're hoping that whoever the buyer's agent is over here is not going to be some kind of shady fly by night Redfin person. Right. And Lady P, in this case, Mukesh, our buyer's agent, who was also the selling agent, got 6% and got a job as a property manager for us, and did an amazing job down there in San Diego. My point with as is if he'd done it right, and if he'd done it as is, he would have released one version of this software and did nothing else. The minute he started supporting it and maintaining it, that clause should not be in the license anymore. Because he has no requirement, or unless there's the social contract of the deal, where it's like the minute he started taking bug reports and adding features and fixing things, lines 13 through 19 should go away. I don't believe it needs to be in any kind of open source license. It's not helpful. Nobody follows it. Nobody expects it to be followed. So why have it? Right? It's easy. Yeah, what happens is folks like this guy with Core JS is like, oh, I want support. I want you to give me monies for fixing this and putting in features, and they're like, we don't have to pay shit. It's open source. It's free. I want to get paid for my work. Well, why did that change? Right. And I know I probably am old and I don't get it. It's fine. I just think that you can't have it both ways. And the problem is, like Lady P said, if he takes it commercial, it's going to go away. Nobody will pay for it. Because like he said, you can go ahead and fork it. You'll fork it, or you'll use this version, whatever the last version was, until it's so bug ridden that somebody will have to take it over. It'll be an Amazon, or it'll be a Facebook's, or it'll be somebody who uses it, or maybe they're already maintaining their own inside. But in my opinion, as is means I don't have to do shit for you because it's open source software. If you want to, yeah, yeah. And Lady P, you say if people won't pay for it, it wasn't all that important. I think my other point is that so you have so you have some person who pays him X number of dollars for it a month. um, Individual people are paying him for it, and they probably use it at their work, which means are they getting reimbursed for that? I don't know. But it's almost like a bug bounty program or something. When an organization goes and you know they have a bug bounty program because they're actively like putting that out for PR. Hey, look at us, we're so cool and hip. We have a bug bounty program. There needs to be something that big companies can put out and go, look, we'll support open source. Send us this, and maybe it's not like if you can prove that you're using it, like he goes into Wappalizer, um, you know, I don't know what the model is, but it doesn't need to be like, GitHub asking people to send out, patronage or whatever. If it's important enough to my company, I'll just hire him as an employee. I think he did try to do that. That's what he was hoping to do. Um, yeah, yeah, Beta Wolf. I mean, I think I mentioned that before. Left pad or some of them colors JS stuff. It's like you don't really know how insidious or how deep in the dependencies or how popular a dependency is. I mean, this guy says he was getting 900 million downloads a month, I think. Let me see. What did he say? Oh, I'm sorry, 250 million NPM downloads a month, 9 billion downloads total. So that's not a lot. It's probably one of those ones that had been reached out to and said you need to have MFA installed on it. I don't know what global U pure means, but um, yeah, I don't know if there's a way to fix this, and I don't know if it's hey, um, publicly, you know, shaming these companies into donating to that person. The other thing is, they'd be donating to a Russian national, so that obviously causes some issues. So I think some of his problem would be fixed if he just left his fucking country, so he can get access to his money again. Um, you know, yeah, maybe not a solution, but would be a solution. Um, but I think we're moving in a direction. It is important to Google or Bookface. They can just snap their fingers and make the problem go away. Yeah. Is Facebook using it? I didn't see Facebook on here. Pure mode. I don't know what pure mode and global mode is, but yeah, there's a ton of here's a Russian site, dzen.ru. Maybe he can reach out to dzen.ru or what have. Oh, okay.ru. Maybe those organizations could, hook him up. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Okay. So Core.js is not being used in FaceSpace or whatever. Book, 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 face, Google, something, something. Amazon's using it. Microsoft's using it. Who do you talk to at Amazon though? Who do you talk to at Google? Do they have? Yeah. Oh yeah, Instagram. Okay. I mean, who do you contact? It's like should who at Facebook is going to go? We use this software. We probably should. Who does that? Is there a department for that? Is it I don't know who makes those decisions at big companies, unless it's like they're finally publicly shamed or something, and then the CEO goes, "Oh, we need to fix this because this is bad press. We're not supporting open source." Who would manage that at a big company? Like their director of open source. Go to VP. Go to LinkedIn. Find a VP of R&D and send them an email. that's a good point. Yeah, if there's an R&D group, or if like one of these big top 100 companies has a SOC manager, or somebody who might use your stuff, somebody in charge of what it said Amazon.com. So figure out who runs the storefront at Amazon or Baidu or what have you. Yep, could be. Yeah. Um, it almost feels like there needs to be a um, reverse bug bounty kind of thing. Like it's like, hey, I noticed that your system, your company uses my software. It would be nice if you gave me some money. Or maybe a company would be like, hey, we know we use a lot of open source software. If you would like us to give you some cash or a monthly stipend or something like that, here's how to get a hold of us to do that, and we will support you up to X number of dollars or something. I don't it feels like we need to it's like reverse bug bounty thing. It's like, hey, show it, I don't want to say show us that we're, prove to us that we're using your technology, but it's like this guy wants to go to yahoo.com. There should be a like open source at Yahoo or something like that, like a bug bounty at Yahoo, or an open source at Yahoo, where somebody could say, hey, you're using my stuff. You know, I don't know. I don't even know what the price structure would look like for that. It's like, you know, I'd love to negotiate a price to continue supporting this or something. It feels like that there's, you know what? It almost feels like there's a business need for that, where it'd be like, acting as an agent for somebody, kind of like a bug bounty company, in that way. What's this? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt the stream, but we're also talking to. Sure. There are. I'm working my ass off to get solar installed in San Diego because the state of California is a dumb place and is passing NEM 3.0. And from what I understand of NEM 3.0 is that SDG&E will be giving me like 30 cents a kilowatt hour back for every kilowatt that we shove back into the grid. When NEM 3.0 comes in, I'll only get 5 cents per kilowatt hour back. So my return on investment of putting in a solar system, 4:30ish. Okay, that's about an hour now. So um, you'd better know every library you have in the company. You're going to get Equifax. I don't want to say you're not wrong, Lady P, but I can guarantee you every company does not know what every library you have running in your environment. You know, that's big ass company. See, when I see a vulnerability, I automatically send that to our security team. And they're like, why are you sending this to? Do you know if we're using this? I'm like, look, we're insert big company here. We use everything under the sun. And it's like, I don't know, and I don't know how to know. And I don't know how to find that out. Um, I sold the keyboard. We need to have it and the stand and stool on the porch by tomorrow a.m. Oh, okay, cool. Um, my wife wants to have dinner because she's flying down to San Diego tomorrow so that we can do a site visit. And we're supposed to have contractors in because we're, kicking the tenants out at the end of May. We want to make sure that we're ready to go for remodeling and renovation and stuff. So they know they're getting kicked out, giving them plenty of options. But it feels like not only is there a business for this where you would contact open source developers of core JS level, or smaller, maybe the business would be hey, you're a relatively popular library used by a number of folks. We can help you get money from these big companies. I could that there are dumber business models out there than that. You know, start up an LLC and say, hey, we can help you get in contact with the top 100 companies that are using your software and can help get you money. And we take 10%. We take a cut. Um, there are dumber business models than that. I mean, look at cryptocurrency. I mean, um, it's interesting. Hmm. Sorry, I'm just dwelling on that because I'm like, that can't be an original idea, right? Kneecap breaking up. So, Lady P, he mentions that in his blog post, the extortionware stuff. Where was that? Where he said, "Oh, you know, um, what do you say? Oh, it'd be uh, yeah. See, that's basically what he says. We'd like to we'd like to use Core.js. Okay, whatever. Cool. Would you like to help financially? No. Somebody said, yeah. What do you say? Um, this is a really nice Core.js. It'd be a shame if it went away or something like that. So, oh yeah, here we go. This project needs blah a month in contributions or will receive no maintenance, no updates or whatever. It's a very nice project. It's a shame if something were to happen to it. Um, and then of course some jackass said, sounds like the Core.js approach. That should be how all open sources ran if that's the case. More popular type stuff. Um, I would be okay with that because the first time Amazon comes in and says, hey, you need to patch this, you can say, I ain't got to do shit, right? So, anybody want to start a business with me where we can reach out to open source developers and, get them connected to big companies that could, you know, get them a monthly stipend or something like that? Let's all make a company. Um, Interesting. I know GitHub tried to do that, but with folks like this who live in Russia, um, Lady P, Lady P, do not tempt me. I mean, it'd be like Bug Crowd, but it's like you would be working with developers to get paid. The thing is, though, it's like, what's the price points for that? You'd have to set price points. Like, yeah, you get, you'd almost have to help them not sell something because the companies are already using it, right? So um, it'd have to be something like this where you'd have to almost prove that they're using it because it'd have to be like, prove me wrong. We could even like find it in Cyprus where we could pay Russia from elsewhere. We could pay this guy in e-gold. There you go. We could pay him in e. Remember anybody remember e-gold? Uh, uh. Um. Oh, oh, forgot. So I bought a proper teleprompter. Yes. It's got a little cowling on the back so that I can hook the Canon camera on it. It's got my beam splitter thing on it. It's a second hand. Actually, it's a defective one. It actually has a crack in the beam splitter mirror up here on top, but it's not in the field of view. I've already used it a couple times. It's actually quite nice. It sits. It's not heavy, but it does sit up. This is a portable monitor that I have that I've connected to my computer, and then I use the teleprompter software to make it happen. Um, Trivial dollars from a dev budget perspective. You're absolutely correct. Correct, lady. Yeah, but so here's the thing though. It's like I can almost see I can start to see some cracks in it. You're gonna have somebody like this who would just be happy with $1,000 a month, right? Lady P, I am getting rid of stuff, and in a by I the timeline for people to come. Okay, all right, Beta Wolf, see you later. The timeline for the people to come in, and like I have to take all of my shit out of my office. Um, you don't own me. You're not my real mom or wife or whatever. Yeah. No, I have to take everything out of my office. I have to take all the shit off my windowsill over here. I have to take all of the shit off my walls. We're gonna have to paint the office here. So at some point, this color will go away. This color here, the orange color. Oh, sorry. Wait. Oh, there we go. All this color is gonna go away. It's all gonna be a nice white or taupe, taupe, something. My wife says it's eggshell, some bullshit like that. It's all white to me. Um, because the realtor said they like sparseness. They like sparseness because sparseness is space. And they're selling space. Oh, preview off. There we go. My encoder overload happened. So yeah, in the next month or so, I'm going to have to clean my entire office to just minimal stuff. They want it, they like the idea of this being an office because originally it was the formal dining room, but I'm going to have everything out except for like my monitors and whatever, make it as sparse as I possibly can make it. They're going to come in and they're going to take photos. They're going to bring in a professional landscaper to like landscape our shit. Um, and April 1st and 2nd, we're supposed to basically get the hell out of the house for a couple of weeks. The former formal dining, yeah, right, yeah, exactly. What you don't see over there is there's a bar, and underneath was supposed to be like a wine refrigerator, and that wine refrigerator lasted all of about a year before it died. Um, and there's some older cabinetry which used to be the same color as the stuff in the kitchen, but the science of selling a house is kind of interesting. We actually interviewed the person, the company we went with. His name is Kamran, and he was talking about that stuff. He's like, we were trying to, not everything will be staged, but they said the question you need to ask is, does it need to be here? But they will be doing some partial staging when they take the pictures. We're going to have to actually get the hell out of the house for a couple hours. Um, so our accoutrement that we have on top of like tables and stuff, on top of the fireplace, we're gonna take all of that off. Everything comes off the walls, all the pictures and everything, and they're gonna put that that silly ass like stereotypical white America cookie jar. It says cookie on the front of it. All that. When you go in and you look at Zillow and you see those pictures, all of that stuff is fake on there. Sometimes it's all, our furniture looks okay, so they're going to keep the furniture and stuff. But it's interesting, the whole process of getting things ready. And it's not just, we're going to be moving in June, but the date and the scheduling back in this case is such that the deadline backwards, it's like by, what is it? We signed the non-disclosure agreement, or not the non-disclosure agreement, but the exclusivity agreement last week. Mid-March, we have to have everything packed up, pretty much like all my stuff here in this area here. Everything off of the bar that's over there. My desk has to be immaculately clean, um, and pretty much we're going to start the next couple weekends after my wife gets back from San Diego is just going to be us packing shit away. And yeah, so because 4 months from now we're going to be gone, so it's going to be interesting, and I can't guarantee I'm going to have my whole setup like this, but yeah, it is what it is. But there's a lot of social engineering there because my wife was like, our house is nice, but we wanted to do some preventative, checking to make sure that um, nothing major was wrong. Because the last thing we want to do on the topic of your business, it really doesn't matter what the dev needs or wants. It matters what it will sell for. There's no law that you can't pay them more than what they asked for, and that's where you make your money, is negotiating with the deep pockets and having the legal team to drop the contract. Hmm. That's a good point, Lady P. The problem is you're going to have developers who are going to say, well, I have 150 downloads a month. I want $10,000 a month from Amazon. Or, it's going to go the other route. It's like Amazon's using my stuff and I don't want them to use it anymore. Or, you're going to get people with hyper inflated ideas. So, yeah, there's going to be, then you don't take them on as clients. Yeah, 100%. Talent manager. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there would almost be like at some point you would figure out that, well, okay, this person has a verified, 250 million downloads a month or something like that. Um, and the fact that it's being used here. So, you're gonna be able to set almost a pricing model or something like that. Um, of what would it take? And you're gonna be going to each one of these companies if they're using like, you're gonna go to the Baidu's, you're gonna go to Amazon, you're gonna go to Billy Billy. What the hell is Billy Billy? Do I want to go and click on this? You know what? I'm going to Google search it first. Okay, okay, good. It's not. I didn't want to go to billybilly.com or .net and it just be hardcore porn or something like that. Yeah, I mean, this would be like the laundry list of companies that you would want to go to and go, look, we know you're using our shit. We know you're using this person's shit. You know, Yeah, it's the lead Southeast Asia's leading anime, comics, and games community. So there you go. And so I mean, this would be the thing like okay, well, you have 100 companies that are using out of the top 100, you have at least 50 companies that are using your stuff. What is the if we got $50 from each of them times 50, that's Jesus. That's $2,500 a month. Something like that. And it's not like, well, do you want to go to one or two of the big ones and say I want $1,000 from you a month, or do you want to go to each one of them and go, look, give me $25 every month as a stipend in perpetuity until you're not using it anymore. Once you get in your foot in the door with those deep pockets, it's easy money. Yeah, um, yeah, and there may be, I don't want to say patent pending, but I mean, I would really like to investigate this to see if that was something you could do. Maybe you work as the consulting firm for all these companies instead, reaching out to the devs they use. Oh, I could definitely see something like that. Because yeah, I mean, you could, what? You could work as a buyer and a seller, right? You could work for the companies, getting involved with the open source folks, or you could work for the open source folks trying to get money from those folks. You'd eventually work with enough of these teams where it'd be like, hey, hey, Amazon guy, this dependency is being used by your team, or and they have the legal teams, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, Lady P, did we just create a business charter or some kind of suggestion of a new business model? um oh my god, that's crazy, man. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, we should talk. That is pretty funny. I mean, it would require you to create, you know, to not, and I'm moving to San Diego, but it's close enough. You're absolutely right, Lady P. We're home of all the talent managers. I mean, we're not in Sunnyvale, but it's 90 minutes to where my office is in LA. So it's just LA South. Well, the only thing keeping LA and San Diego from merging into one super cluster down in the SoCal area is Camp Pendleton. Until they brack Camp Pendleton or make it so that you can connect San Angelo, was that what it was called in that movie? Was it Demolition Man? They called it San Angelo. Um, I mean, technically, if you drive down the 15, there's not much delineation between, the Corona in that area. Lady P, I've had so many references to the Californians in the last few days. You have no idea. Um, yeah. Um, yeah, that man, God, you know, that's unfortunate because there is a I think there's definitely a need for what this person has need of, and I think devs are not good at selling things. And it's this guy's pretty. You can definitely tell he's at the end of his rope, and it's because his livelihood, what he likes doing for a living, which is developing code, he's not a salesperson. He just hoped that eventually it would get popular enough that people would, throw something into his tip jar. And as we see with, capitalism, uh, why buy the milk when they give it away for free? You can, I was trying to figure out another way of using a cow to, you're tipping over a cow or something like that. Some kind of process there. Um, but so I mean, oh look, it's being used on Pinterest. Oh, Pornhub's not using it. Patreon's using it. That's crazy. Okay. Um, you know, I, you would have to have, you know, I'm sure there would be companies that you would reach out to, like, naver.com, saying, hey, there's an open source developer, you're using their stuff. We'd like to sit down and engage with you and help you, give back. I mean, there's going to be a lot of companies that are going to just slam the door in your face in that. Um, in that way. I mean, if this guy wanted to take Core.js not um, open source, then um, I could. There's so many ways you could go with this, and it was a completely different direction that I didn't plan on doing on this stream. Um, and I have to drop off in about half an hour anyway because we're going to dinner. But yeah, there's a lot of companies out there that won't use open source software because it doesn't have a support contract, and you could. I know 15 to the 215. Lady P, I've done, oh my God, I've done that. When I was driving from Monterey or San Diego to Monterey on weekends, I would take the 5 all the way through LA, which would add about an hour and a half because of traffic and shit because it was a Friday afternoon. Then I had a friend of mine tell me you take the 15 to the 10 to the 210 to the 5 and you go around LA. It's about 30 miles further, but there's less traffic. What you just said there is so the Californians that goddamn. I can see that I can understand the complexities of trying to help developers get paid for something. You'd probably have to model it in the way of like a support contract or something like that, where it's like, hey, we're going to give you X number of dollars. Magnesium shit. Well, thank you. Thank you. Oh God, I needed this actually. I was feeling like shit the last day or two. So I appreciate everybody coming on and helping out for this. The 10 to San Bernardino, the 201 through Pasadena, the 5 to Burbank. um, yeah, so yeah, magnesium. We're talking about how to solve the open source issue, that being getting developers paid. So, but yeah, it's yeah. You would almost have to style the support where you would reach out to a company and go, look, this person is going to, you know, you're using this in a lot of places. You would have to make sure that you would style it in such a way as like a support contract, if you will. Like you pay this person, by donating X number of dollars to this person, you're making sure that they're going to continue keeping your software that you use to maintain billions of dollars alive, like Spotify. It I think it's the wrong direction. I think you hire yourself out to the companies and then spend their money to fund these things. That's an interesting thought. I mean, it would be most definitely something that they would want to do. So if register yourself as a was I don't know what that would be called, like an open source agent. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I mean, the bug crowd folks keep, you know, the emails going to, because when I was working at CrowdStrike, you'd get emails to security at saying stuff like, "I just hacked you. Please give me all the monies, or I will hack your site and let people know." And it's like, how do you, you know, how did you do it? Oh, I would tell you, but I can't tell you without $10,000 or whatever. You being the person consulting firm working for the companies that as their liaison to the devs would have to be like, look, Amazon's only going to give you $2,000, but you got 2,000 from Amazon. You can get 1,000 from Facebook. You can get 500 from, joebobbillies.org or whatever. And it would be a long-term thing. So you'd have regular money coming in. Kind of, yeah. The funny thing is this almost sounds like it would work, but I don't have the time, effort, or bandwidth to do this stuff. Um, and GitHub has that option already. They've kind of made it so that you can donate, but Amazon's not doing it, right? It's always individuals. That's the other problem that I have with it. It's like you've got individuals who work for these big companies that are not going to the big companies because they're a low level functionary dev type person going, "Hey, we should really support this. I don't even know who to contact over here." And then they get busy, have to put out their own shit. I represent certain commercial interests who would like to support your efforts. It's a fair point. If anybody's got ideas on how to make this work, you should probably set up an LLC and make it happen. I'm trying to figure out how this would go wrong, though. I think the biggest one is the avarice or the overinflated developer who like, I want $1 billion from Amazon, or I'm going to nuke this shit. And you'd be like, well, um, I don't, or the developers like, I don't agree with what Google is doing. I don't want them using my stuff anymore. Sorry, sir, this is a Wendy's. We don't do that here. Um, you know, I'm trying to figure out what could go wrong because I'm always in that route. That's why you tell them you don't tell them who you represent. Oh, yeah, that sounds. I don't. Who do you represent? Certain people doing things with stuff. That's true, but that would be kind of shady. I would imagine that the developer would want to know who I represent. So yeah, because there are developers out there that are like, you'd make what I mean. You know what, Lady P? Thank you. I am a crappy tech bro. So there you go. Please don't clip that. Uh, I am a crappy tech bro. That's a badge of honor right there. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So I think we've beat that to death. We've also figured out a new business model that's probably less stupid than other ones have been. Um, uh, Found a cool, interesting article here about teams controlling quantum light sources. I actually found this new website called Futurity, something like that. I don't think it's international business news or anything like that. It's not like one of those sites that is garbage. But I mean, just take it as a grain of salt. It's from the University of Copenhagen. Apparently, has done this, talking about controlling two quantum light sources and connecting them to one another. 20 years worth of work. So, but yeah, I was looking through my science stuff because I haven't looked at any of the science stuff in a while. Hearing loss can be reversed. Oh, I love that. They could regrow the cells because I've got tinnitus like out the ass. Though. Seriously though, I'm kind of liking this. It's free money. I don't want to buy anything, sell anything, or process anything. Yeah, my worry there, Lady P, on the thing going back to the business model is what liability do I have as the interested party working with insert company here? I mean, some of the stuff you were suggesting there. Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, it's a movie quote. Okay, I haven't seen that movie in forever. So, um, I'm so confused at this quantum entanglement angle on quantum computing. Um, Lady P is furiously typing at this second. I can almost assume. So, I mean, and I have 25 minutes with a hard stop. So, um, Lady P. Um, so the way I've always understood uh, the qubits portion, and again, I think we've had some people on talking about that as well, but um, quantum entanglement is the phenomena when a group of particles generate, interact, or share spatial proximity in such a way that the state of each particle cannot be described independently of the state of the others, including when the particles are separated by large distance. That's a spooky at a distance, I think, is what old boy called it. Yeah, Einstein. Yeah, Einstein referred to it as spooky action at distance. Quantum bits are sent in bursts of photons. Right. Uh, Magnesium. Yeah. This is interesting. So they're saying the entangled photons, the laser beam, the crystal that's happening, vertically polarized photons. I whacked it for the F bomb. Wait a minute, did I miss it? Did I miss something? I didn't even see that it was censored. Oh, I see, I see. No, the way I understand it, most quantum computers manipulate several qubits at a time. Yeah, qubit. Um, Basic unit of quantum information. It's 0 or 1 used to represent classical computers. I don't know how many, the largest quantum computer qubit processing. The Osprey has the largest qubit count of any quantum processor, more than 127 qubits, more than tripling the 127 qubits unveiled in 2021. 0 or 1 is binary, yes, no, maybe is quantum. Yeah, yeah. So, no, yeah, 433 qubits right now being used. Osprey is more than triple the size of its previous record breaking Eagle processor. According to New Scientist, which is not an awful website for science news. Though unfortunately, New Scientist has not a lot of information usually, unless you want to subscribe. Yeah, Osprey News. Ouch! Quantum computing startup Rigetti. Ooh, 28% of staff is gone. Womp womp. Ooh. Oh, China claims to have the capability to deliver a homemade, fully functional quantum computer, making it third company to do so after the United States and Canada. Okay, so they're now a quantum superpower or what have you. The U.S. is about 5 years ahead of China. They'll probably catch up because that's how they do. They have a 64-bit qubit one. Um, okay, let's see if this is a better. Brings us a step closer to the point where quantum computers will be used to tackle previously unsolvable problems. Yeah, this is a better article. It's longer than the New Scientist one that you don't have to publish or subscribe to. Interesting. Quantum safe cryptography across the telecom infrastructure. Let me see. I had a story today, a long form article about homomorphic encryption from Google. There's a primer on there. Yeah, here you go. Posted that to our Discord. Apparently, Google has an AI bot that has an error, and they're saying it costs $100 billion in value. Alphabet shares fell 7% Wednesday, which is yesterday. Yesterday, today's the 15th, right? Yeah. So, um, this is the price of making an digital warhead. Hey. I'm going to be on for another 20 minutes or so, but we've been talking about fixing open source. We have a we have a brand new business model on how to engage open source developers for large companies. Our digital warhead. Um, Lady P is going to be the CEO. I'm going to be the lowly toady who's going to be. Oh wait. Oh okay. So see, digital warhead. This is how much I need to take a day off and recuperate from the last weekend. This happened today, apparently. 7% on Wednesday. No, when? Wait. So it says Tuesday, February 14th. You rat. But it said Wednesday, so it must mean like last week or something. Oh, I don't. What? Lady P, I can't be a CEO. I can't. I tried being the president of a nonprofit. You know how well that worked out. So apparently, so this AI made a mistake, which begs the question: um, Are we gonna have to start, you know, checking the veracity of things like Chat GPT or OpenAI? If somebody blindly trusted Bard, the AI bot from Google, as to being, it's a small thing, where they say, it responded to telescope. James Webb was the first to take images of a planet outside Earth's solar system, when in fact the VLT in the European VLT did in 2004. Um, so Cunningham's law, of course, the chatbot said that James Webb was the first. Very quickly, astronomers on Twitter corrected them. So in this case, the astronomers were more correct. Um, uh, what happens if the AIs? What if we start trusting AIs to the point where we're no longer doing fact checking? I mean, we see that with a lot of new technology where people blindly trust it. Auto drive on Tesla. Um, you know, we have people blindly trusting this stuff. New technologies because people made it so it's infallible. I would hope so. Magnesium. You know, Obviously Cunningham's law is going to be in effect where we're going to have people doing that. But what happens if there's no mechanism to make those corrections? What if Bard AI said, "Hey, the world is flat"? You know, what would have happened then? I mean, that would have obviously that would have been fixed faster by Google, because Google should be smart enough to say there's a lot of blind trust without much fact checking going on these days, not just in tech. You're correct, Digital Warhead. That is correct. Um, we would have all spun off into. No, I just keep walking Widdershins to the. Is that what it is? Widdershins. The only reason I know that word is because of the Discworld novels. So, um, Widdershins is an amazing word. Um, I don't. Yeah, yeah. Well, should there also not be critical thinking inside clockwise? Okay, that makes sense. I didn't know if it was clockwise to the axes or some kind of weird shit like that. So magnesium, should the AI bot be second guessing itself and maybe looking for things. What happens if it was using information faulty data sets? You know, maybe the only information that it was pulling from had that as the fact. Um, you know, yeah. See, magnesium. I have no frame of reference on this AI bot, so you know. Uh, says Google spokesman said the error emphasized the importance of a rigorous testing process, something that we're kicking off this week with our trusted tester program. That's what's done in image generation, clip or GAN, for example. Yeah. I think it's interesting. So the Google spokesperson says the importance of a rigorous testing process emphasize the error emphasized the importance of a rigorous testing process, something we're kicking off this week. So it's like we didn't have a rigorous testing process. We're now going to, oh shit, now we need to have a testing process. So we didn't need to check to see if all the tires were on the car until something went really wrong, and now we need to check every time to make sure the tires are on the car. But yeah, we'll combine external feedback with our own internal testing and make sure BAR's responses meet a high bar for quality, safety, and roundedness in real world info. It's not inferring information, it's formulating sentences on what should most likely come next. So I've been told by thought sources to blindly trust them. But so magnesium, here's my problem. What if it didn't know the answer? Where is it going to find that information? It can't just be blindly saying, oh, okay. See, that's my thing. It's like, what if you ask it a question it does not know the answer to? It's going to go look that shit up, isn't it? Why do I blindly just click on things when people post it up in the chat? See, that's like that tweet the other day, Lady P, when I said my mother sends me a link to say click on it. I don't click on it. When Scott sends me something to click on, I click on it. Why is it like that? And it's like, here's a dump of the internet contents from 2020. Yeah, see magnesium. That's the problem, right? Hottest new algorithm on the AI art scene is stable diffusion. Click here to read a stable diffusion tutorial. Text prompt. It's like that drug trip I saw in that movie while I was on a drug trip trending on ArtStation. Huh, okay. Look at first and intro. First and intro of what? So Chat GPT isn't actually searching anything up. Down. Oh, okay. Down. Feel free to jump straight to method 1 or 2 if you're here just for the tutorial. Okay. No coding required. Is it? Because I can't say shit that will make this kind of stuff. Oh, stop. Okay. Tad to the left. Tad to the left. Two separate machine learning algorithms that can be used together to generate images. she's so mad at me right now. Oh my god. Okay. VQGAN is a generative adversarial neural network that's good at generating images that look similar to others, but not from a prompt. And CLIP is another neural network that is able to determine how well a caption matches an image. Interesting. Two algorithms were combined in various forms by art enthusiasts Ryan Murdoch and Catherine Krausen. Easy, digital warhead. Jesus. Yeah, remote controlled Brian's. Complete with delay. So it's like, oh, you're tapping on like move camera thing like 5 times and it doesn't go, and then all of a sudden, you know, um, read on to find out how to do it yourself. Method 1 in Google Colab is designed primarily to be accessed from a computer. If you're on your phone, you should skip to method 2. Artificial intelligence at its best. You can stop reading now. Oh, okay. So yeah, y'all can go check that out. I missed the opportunity to get access and accounts to a lot of these things. So like Stable Diffusion and what have you. Oh, I see. Okay. Again, for those of you in the back, just in case you didn't see that, it has the BreakSec seal of approval. This is the website for it if you want to go poke around on that. Um, this image was generated from the text prompt geometric glass city from the future at dusk. See, there's a syntax that I'm not getting when I try to do things in like Mid Journey or what have you. It's like when I say something in there, I don't get what I'm looking for, and I don't know. It sounds nice, but I bet this is like 15 different iterations where Mid Journey, if you go into the Discord for Mid Journey, it's like they give you four of them, and then it's like you say something like Geometric Glass City from Future Dusk. You get four of them, and three of them look like garbage, and one may look okay. And then it's like you pick one, and it's like, oh, you re-render it, or you give, four different versions. I don't know if it's the same for those, but Midjourney is simplistic in its prompts. Stable Diffusion is more complex. It's what I run at home. You can also train your own content. Okay. Yeah, for me, I was like just trying to create a new logo for the podcast or something, and it was like I wasn't getting anything of what I was asking for. They were looking at like super grandiose and what have you. So it's kind of janky, but I could train a zillion of your faces and put them on a knight with a sword. Oh, yeah. See, I don't want to do hacker in a hoodie. I've already speaking of that, yeah, that yeah, hacker in a hoodie's been done to death, and I'm not a fan of it. Not sure I'd want to put my face on a sword, but I was just playing around with some things. Yeah, I don't know what our next logo would look like if I did one, but I was just poking around and seeing if I could make something that was a little bit cooler. I have an idea in my head. The problem is I don't know how to say it so that it will actually show up and look at what I'm trying to do there. Um, and maybe that's what maybe Stable Diffusion is better than that. Maybe Mid Journey was like generation one of these AI things, and Stable Diffusion is a different way of doing the same thing. So, how about a hacker wearing a hoodie with Brian's face on the hoodie? Wow. Okay. See the AI in my head actually made something that is kind of cool, um, but I'm not a fan of the Um, yeah, I'm still not a fan of the hacker with the hoodie thing. I actually mentioned that as part of the feedback for that O'Reilly book that I was doing um, chapter edits for. What symbolizes security for you? Um, a lot of locks, eyeballs. You know, um, maybe green text rolling down the screen and what have you. I don't like the iconography. I mean, they the the swords and the shields. I mean, we have a sword. I think we have a sword and a knight for our some of our stuff. I just does it have to have an icon? Yeah, locks all over the place. Hey, Beowulf. It is tough to think up something original. I actually think you don't need an icon necessarily for a logo. Um, I could you could just as easily put a landmark or something else for that. You could yes, or digital warheads with his little weenie man thing. Please don't. Clever fonting. I mean, there's um, you know, uh, right on. Hey, Beowulf. Well, I'm glad you could join us here. We're an hour and 21 minutes in now, and I'm going to be leaving in the next few minutes to go to dinner before I take my wife to the airport tomorrow. But yeah, it's I don't know what the next one looks like, but I mean there's a ton of options out there. Um, yeah, I don't know what people are looking for with iconography. I mean, obviously you want to have something that's easily marketable that looks, but I mean, I've seen everything, and I don't like the hacker with the hoodie thing. Going to a local local Mexican joint that we have up here. The servers and everything know us, and they're good people. So little mom and pop place. We're supporting local. So but let me double check and make sure my yeah, okay, good. That's me. Oh, I see magnesium. Okay, what I was trying to get at is how to give good prompts to Midjourney or whatever. Yeah, I'm I've tried that. It was like, I was trying to build on the Blue Knight thing that we have for our logo, and I was trying, like Blue Knight, looking left or something like this with a blue helmet or something, and nothing came out right. And I tried several iterations. I tried making changes to the wording that I was getting. Meanwhile, people were just posting up a bunch of stuff and getting like really cool pictures, and I was like, I'm doing something wrong. And it felt like I didn't understand the syntax, or there was something where they were saying like, half dark something something, and I was like, with Linux, and you're using the command line, there's the executable, and then there's switches, and there's dashes, and there's dashes, and there's certain ways that the CLI formats your command and to get what you want. And what I'm trying to figure out with things like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion is, what is correct syntax to get what I want, because maybe that's too logical. I'm not thinking, like that. Crowbar breaking into a bank vault door. Hmm. My avatar on the BreakSec Discord is the Stable Diffusion generated. Fight Club for Ghosts. Beowulf. Yeah, God. I'm see, in my head everything looks great, right? Um, you know, um, I think you can still get into Midjourney. I think it's still available. Let me go see. Let's see, where is it? Midjourney. Here it is. Yeah, I still have access to it. Yay! Um, Prompt engineering. Yeah, Stable Diffusion is an open source download, but Beowulf music. If you're in the Discord, please post them. Yeah. By the way, join Discord if you want to join our Discord there. So let me see. How do I type imagine? And then what was the one? Let me see. Let me see. Fight Club for Pac-Man Ghosts. Fight Club for Pac-Man Ghosts. What is that? That's not what I wanted. Okay, mine's gonna pop up eventually here. Let me see. Oh wait, scroll back up. There it is. Okay, mine's rendering right now. Mine is rendering 0% fast. Oh. Okay, so yeah. Cameron browser. Turn off that. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay. There we go. So that's what Fight Club for Ghosts looks like. What am I doing? Okay. Doink. I took a screenshot, so let me go and pull that up. Documents, ShareX, screenshots, 2020. Okay, so let me. There we go. So that's what came up when it said Fight Club for Pac-Man Go. It's not awful. It's pretty good. I this one looks like a duck. This one up here in the upper right hand corner. But again, you can take one or of the four and like re-render it, and it'll continue doing its thing. Um, But so it's okay. So I understand Stable Diffusion is an open source application, but y- you you're you're telling me, you had like 350 terabytes of hard drive space and stuff like that. Is that for Stable Diffusion can be done by anybody, or something more like retro cartoon painting of a Fight Club for Pac-Man ghosts? Huh, interesting. I'm going to borrow that description. Highly detailed octane rendered trending. Okay, so that's the problem I've got right there, Lady P. Retro cartoon painting of a Fight Club for Pac-Man ghosts. Great, done. But then you have to add all this highly detailed octane rendering, trending art station, something, something, derp, derp, derp. How would I know that? How would I know that? You know, um, I've seen that on some of the Discord. Let me see. What were some of the other ones? A 3D stage where he is very cute showing an iPhone. Let me see. Princess Elsa from Frozen with Japanese face dancing ballet jumping pose in the salon castle and delay or whatever. So it's like, how do realistic light colors? How would I know to put all that stuff in there, right? Oh, video stuff. Okay. Elegant young female teacher with long hair and young students around her classroom, realistic light colors. How would I know to put all that additional descriptive stuff in? Does it know when I say like, 1950s something, like Instagram filtered something something? That's my thing. It's like I don't think about that. There are the lists of artists, styles, etc. that are trained. I guess that's just something I don't know what I don't know, and I'd have to go and buy the, Midgard or Stable Diffusion for Dummies book so that I can understand, what all I need to put in to make mine look like what I want it to look like. Um, which is why I was like, I don't think this is going to take, artists worried about Midgard or Stable Diffusion taking over for your stuff. Stable Diffusion art prompts. High quality, ready to use prompts. Reusing prompts is a great way to generate stunning images with the style you want. This page contains a curated set of high quality prompts and parameters. Feel free to use them as starting point for art. Okay. Flowery girl. Okay. Paris on rainy fall. That's not actually bad. Actually, that kind of reminds me of some of the places I saw near the Champs Elysees. So yeah, okay. Portraits in Midgard style. Wow. Okay, so that's interesting. Prompt is basically based on the model. Woman in white dress. That's what's her name from Harry Potter? Hermione. Emma Watson. It looks like Emma Watson anyway. Future city imagined from the past. Okay. I can understand. Well, that looks a little creepy. Click on one of those to see the prompts. Oh, okay. Oh, so these are what are being used to train the. Oh, he's got two hands. Down, down, down. Oh, down, 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 down. Okay. Young female highlights in hair, sitting outside restaurant, brown eyes, wearing dress, side light. Okay. Tire ideas. You can play with the lighting, some options, rim lighting or backlight. See, this is why I think it's not going to be as easy for artists to. I don't think artists have to worry about this taking over and looking at, because for every one of the really cool pictures, you got a guy with like creepy fingers right here on his arm. It's like, ugh. Oh, and this guy with some kind of weird eyeball thing going on here. Yeah, he's got creepy eyeball thing going on, like cat's eyes, or like that's Mystique or whatever from X-Men, whatever. Okay, sorry, I dorked that up real good. Uh, they still have issues with the eyes. The eyes look kind of creepy, but yeah, it's okay. When AI learns to draw hands, you're toast. Yeah, that's 100% correct. So But anyway, so we're I think done. I'm gonna go. I'm so helpful. I'm so glad that I had this today because I really did need this to honestly, someone who still draws, I can't draw hands. I can't draw for shit, which is like, I thought this was great for me because I'd be like, oh, I can do stuff, without, having to worry about trying to, draw fingers and hands. I don't draw. My daughter's far better drawer than I am. But yeah, I'm kind of glad I had this because this helped um, uh, recharge or rejuvenate. Got me out of a funk, I think, probably from the weekend and what have you. But you know, a 1111 makes for some easy randomness. Dynamic prompts, stable diffusion, dynamic prompt extension. Whoa, well, that's kind of cool. I wasn't on a trip down to Funky Town. I was like, it felt like I've had 3 Mondays this week and it's only Tuesday. So it was just a really long couple days and I didn't get to decompress from the weekend. So, and then of course the weekend was a little emotionally charged. So, but cool. Yeah, go check that out. That sounds fun. Stable diffusion dynamic prompts. So, anyway, thank you all for coming. Come and hang out. If you got here late, sorry. Go and check out the last hour or so where we tried to help solve the open source payment problem. Yeah, I'll be here on Friday, probably a little longer than normal because I'm gonna take half a day on Friday. Thank you, Lady P. I will go have me some evening that I deserve. So, yeah, thank you all for coming. And anybody have any place we should raid right now? Anybody online that I can suggest? Anybody online that we can suggest? Is it Triplexity online? Let's go. We can raid Triplexity, Sid Heresy, Maker Deck. Oh, 2OC is not online. Well, let's go raid Maker Deck. It's always fun. Here we go. Subscriber only chat. Oh, do they? This channel has follower or subscriber only chat. Oh well. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go then. We won't raid anybody. So have a good night. We'll talk y'all soon and be safe. Thank y'all. Bye.